This is a May Luna Media production. You're listening to Love, Light, and Black Holes. I'm your host, Morgan Garza, here to remind you of your disco ball soul so you can dance with your darkness. If you're sick of love and light spirituality like I was, you're in the right place. We keep it real, go deep, and give voice to your shadow so your light shines even brighter. Enter the void. Welcome back, Shame Slayers and Shadow Sparklers. We are at the end of 2025, and if you're anything like everybody I know, your entire shit is unraveling. Your life, your relationships, your job, your beliefs, your structure, your routines. Everything is coming apart because what we are at is the end of so many endings that are happening simultaneously. I had a whole episode about this before, the life-changing or the life-altering astrology of 2025, where I went into what the 9-year is, the outer planets all changing signs, the 9-year in numerology, and the snake year in Chinese astrology. And we are now at the end of all of this. The Chinese New Year technically isn't until February 17th, 2026, but we're still in this shedding moment, in this release. And I am seeing so much everywhere about this is a 9-year and we're going into a 1-year. This is a snake year and we're going into a fire horse year. Yay, new beginnings. And it's like, yes. And why is no one talking about all of the endings that need to happen? Why are we not addressing the things that are unraveling, the things that are coming apart at the seams, the things that we thought were certain and forever and solidified in gold are now making our skin crawl, because this is the reality of where we are at in time right now. So many people in my timeline, in my life, are experiencing massive, massive shifts. And this is all by design. This is the cyclical nature of the time that we are in. And you can argue that, sure, time is made up, because that's what I've told myself so many times. The Gregorian calendar is made up. Who knows if we're really in the year 2025 and going into 2026? Like, this is a human construct. However, I will counter that with the fact that we have belief. We believe in the fact that we're in a 2025 year. We believe in the fact that we are going into 2026. We believe in this construct that we've created. And this belief carries weight. It carries monumental momentum when we are thinking about things like, oh, well, time is made up. And so what does this numerologically mean if we're going from a 9-year to a 1-year? Because we made up the year 2025. It's really whatever. Like, who fucking knows? Year million, thousand, trillion, and 6, right? So there is this belief aspect. But with that comes the truth that numbers govern the entire universe. Numbers are the structure of what we know to exist in the universe. And so at the end of this 9-year, which is 2025 all added together, we are going into a 1-year, 2026. And you're going to have your own personal numerology for your birth date, which I'll get into in a little bit. But the truth about 2026 that no one else is saying, that they're just lighting candles, pulling cards, journaling about their word of the year and saying things like, yay, 1 year is coming, fresh start, new beginnings, fire horse energy, manifestation portal. I'm over here like, hello. We are walking into a year historically feared across Asia because of the fire horse for producing women who were quote unquote too powerful to domesticate. Like, literally. I'm getting into this in a minute, but I'm going to tease it a little bit. In 1966 was the last time we had a fire horse year, and the birth rates dropped in Asia. But this is not vision boarding with rose petals. This is your old identity literally combusting, the annihilation of everything that you know, of your identity, of who you are, of who you believe yourself to be, is ending. But this is beautiful. Because we must evolve. Change is the only thing that is guaranteed in the universe. And we are in massive, earth-shattering change right now. We see it personally, we see it collectively, and it is only going to increase as we go into the next year. So yes, be excited for a new beginning. However, it is important to honor what's ending, to realize that these things that you once relied upon are now going away. But fortune favors the brave, and this has led me through many, many leaps where I built my wings on the way down, and I have always been rewarded for betting on myself, for taking a risk, and for doing something that scared the living daylights out of me before I actually did it. So let's get into what all of this means, because what we're leaving behind, the snake year and the global 9 year, is truly massive. This whole year has felt like a slow motion identity peel. I personally started this year in an absolute combustion of everything I knew because I lost my dad on December 26th, 2024. So 2025 started and I was like, fuck all of this shit. Like, I don't want to be doing anything that I'm doing right now in the same way. Everything needs to change. My whole world was just cracked open and I finally saw things the way that they actually were, rather than looking through the rose-colored lenses that I really wanted to see things as I wished they were. And that wasn't bad. It was just a little bit shocking, and it shook me in ways that I didn't expect. And now that we are at the end of this year and I'm reflecting about how I felt at the beginning, which still feels like just yesterday, I'm realizing that this culmination of what I'm feeling right now, of the things that are happening in my life right now, of the truths that I can't unsee right now, that was seeded in January, right? So the seed was planted. Throughout the year, I watered it. There were periods of drought. There were periods of monsoons. And I really got into this place of push and pull. Do I really want what I thought I wanted at the beginning of the year? Was I just full of fuck it fearlessness because I looked death in the face with my dad? Or is all of this stuff really not aligned? And now I have just come to the conclusion of that and gave myself time to really marinate where I was. So if you are in the same place, if you are facing things that you really don't want to be doing and you are hearing this call of something else, we're going to get into why that actually matters. Because the universe has put you in a crock pot and said, we're going to soften every part of you that clings, that's hard, that's raw. And by the end of this year, you are going to have that little ding and be done and be ready and have all of the nutrients that have soaked into you during this slow cook, this slow burn. And maybe some of this year was not slow. Maybe it came out of left field. Maybe you had a lot of realizations and things that happened that were sudden and shocking and shook you unexpectedly, because I know I did, and there's always some of that too. But snake years do that. They strip illusion, they shed what's dead, they dissolve what cannot join you in the next chapter. We also have the ending of Neptune being in Pisces, which is two very watery, dreamy, illusion-oriented signs and energies leaving each other. And right now, at this time, we are at the anaretic degree of Neptune in Pisces. That means the 29th degree in the zodiac sign. There are 29 degrees in every zodiac. So when a planet starts at 0 and goes to 29, that means that we are at the very end of this. So if you feel like the wool is being pulled from over your eyes, that you are finally seeing things for what they actually are, that you are shedding things that you thought would always be there, that you are just changing your identity and beliefs and things that you want, that is so much connected to Neptune having been in Pisces for so long. So now that we are moving out of that, we're going towards something that is truly fiery in a lot of different ways. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But this snake year is a slow shedding. The snake, imagine a snake slithering across the desert. It can go fast, but it's not lightning speed. It is with each turn shedding a piece of itself, removing the skin, stripping illusion, shedding what's dead, dissolving what can't join you in the next chapter. And it has to surrender to the skin coming off, to the new. Because if it tenses and grips and fights the shedding, that's no way to become anew, to shed what needs to come off. That skin is going to strangle that snake. So this is exactly what has been happening to us on a collective and personal level. And when paired with a global 9 year, it makes sense that everything that wasn't aligned is also falling apart, burning out, ending abruptly, disappointing you, or showing its true colors. The 9-year basically says, hand it over. You can't take that into the next cycle. Like sometimes my dog Cooper wants to take his toy on a walk and I'm like, baby, leave it. Like you can't take that with you. So the universe is saying the same thing. And if most people don't understand this, it's because we're gripping to the old because that's what's familiar. And we have talked about this so much in this podcast since I launched it this summer that we cling to what's familiar. We will stay in an uncomfortable, familiar place rather than take the risk of going into the unknown where we have no clue what's waiting for us. And this is just like neurological. Our bodies are literally wired for this. And it's raw and it's honest and it's unfiltered. And it's when the universe calls your bluff and says, if you're done with the past, prove it. Prove that you are ready to burn all of this down so that I can take you to where you know we both want to be. And that's where we've been. And now we are walking straight into the fire. The fire horse year was feared. In 1966, the birth rate in Japan dropped 25% because the fire horse women, if you had a child during the fire horse year, and if it was a girl, they were believed to be too rebellious, too powerful, too independent, and too uncontrollable. So because people wanted to conform, they didn't procreate. They did not have children because the risk of it being a girl who was uncontrollable. And when I hear this, I think that is exactly who we want to bring into the world right now. Someone who is too much for the patriarchal systems to handle. Yes, please. This archetype of a woman couldn't be tamed. They couldn't be boxed in. They wouldn't stay silent or small or compliant or convenient. So imagine being so powerful that an entire country, an entire people tries to avoid your birth year. So if you were born in 1966, congratulations. I hope you are a fucking firecracker and living up to the lore because it's pretty great. But when you understand that, you understand what 2026 is actually about, plus the astrology that we're going to get into in a minute. Everything is coming collectively to bring us to this fiery ending, to this burst of rebellious change, to shouting what we are not okay with and no longer tolerating what does not align. And I'm not going to get political, but this is exactly the change that we need. Because this is where we actually get to things that are different rather than going along with the same shit and calling it change when it really isn't. So this is not a year of gentle new beginnings. This isn't a, yay, I'm gonna start fresh year. This is some serious shit. This is a year where the old systems quite literally cannot contain you anymore. Fire horse energy doesn't destroy for fun, though. It destroys what imprisons you. It is literally learn to ride, saddle up, or be dragged because we are moving at lightning speed and nothing is going to contain us. Nothing is going to keep us in the same place that we absolutely do not want to be. We're breaking down the barn, we're setting a fire on the way out, and we are burning this shit to the ground because we cannot, will not tolerate it anymore. This is the year of women rising. This is the year of the feminine rising. This is the year of ungovernable feminine power. And this is the year where being quote unquote too much is really a requirement. And paired with a one universal year, we are not skipping into this era. We are breaking and entering, and we are taking no prisoners because this is some serious shit. The 1 year is not a cute fresh start that people pretend it is. Most spiritual people talk about 1 year as like they're glitter and rainbows and sparkles and unicorns and manifestation stickers, but it's not. 1 year is not a clean canvas in the way that you imagine. It's an identity reconstruction zone, which can be super uncomfortable. And it asks, who are you now that you don't want to be? When you reconstruct your identity, you are stepping into something that you don't know, someone you don't know, someone you've never embodied or been. Maybe someone you've always wanted to, maybe you've been afraid to because you're afraid of what people think, you don't have any experience, you've never done that before. But who are you now that you don't want to be? What aspects of you are just really making your skin crawl? And we've talked about this a lot in terms of shadow work. You have to get so sick of your own bullshit that you can't tolerate 1 minute being in this exact same place, that you have to change. You have to look within. A 1 year isn't about clarity as much as it's about courage. Maybe you are going to have clarity. Maybe right now you have clarity because you're like, well, I know exactly what I don't want. But that doesn't mean that what you do want just appears. That means that you have to keep sifting through all of the things that don't feel good, all of the things that don't align, all of the aspects of you that are no longer authentic. Because if anything, this entire year, 2026, is about authenticity. Because what 2025 has shown you is what is not authentic, what is not authentically aligned, and integrity, and coming from a place that you feel really good about. You've outgrown things. It's like wearing too tight pants. Do you remember in like the early 2000s, our jeans, well, maybe not the early 2000s, but like the mid 2000s, the 2010s, our jeans were so tight. I would wear jeans so tight, my literal kneecaps would hurt. This is 2025. You can't sit. You look good, but you can't sit. And it's uncomfortable, and you can't live like this because your organs are being squashed, your kneecaps are fighting to break free, and everything is saying no. So you get this clarity after you know exactly what you don't want. And that comes from walking in the direction of where you want to be, which means walking away from where you don't want to be. And new beginnings can be exciting, but they can also be disorienting. They can feel like standing in an empty room with a box cutter and realizing you are the one that has to build the furniture and break down all the boxes and clean everything and follow all of the meticulous instructions that are probably missing things. And you're going to end up with like 17 extra screws and be like, where the fuck did these go? It can be a lot. But if you are up to the challenge, if you are so done with where you're at, then this is exactly where you want to be. This is what is calling for you and waiting for you. If you are not ready, you are going to be dragged by the fire horse. You are going to be challenged so strongly by the 1 year to rebuild, to recreate, that you are going to have to make a move in one direction or the other, because staying exactly where you are is really just not an option. The universe is pushing you in a different direction, and the more you cling to the old, the more you make excuses and validate where you're at and the past that you don't really want to be in, the more you're keeping yourself away from. And it can be hard, and it can be scary, and it can be full of grief to let some of this stuff go, and very difficult decisions need to be made, but they're essential, because what you are moving into is all about your intention and your authenticity. This is the year you set the tone for the next 9 years. The last time we had a 9-year was 2016. So what changed in your life in 2016? What ended? What realizations did you have about what you didn't want? Personally, I ended a 5-year relationship. I started working on launching a company. I ended who I thought I was. I ended the career that I had previously. And in 2017, a 1 year, I launched my first company. I became someone that I always wanted to be, but didn't think was possible. I didn't think I was worthy. I met my now husband. I moved to Denver, where I would spend the next 6 years living. So much happened in that 1 year, but it was also scary and new and uncomfortable and unexpected and uncertain. And there were so many things that rattled me because my entire life had crumbled yet again. And I was rebuilding from the ground up. And that requires a really strong foundation. And you also have a personal year. So for example, the global universal year for 2025 is 9. For 2026, it's 1. And you get that by adding 2 plus 0, which cancels out, plus 2 plus 5. That's 9. If you add 2 plus 2 plus 6, that's 10. You cancel out the 1 or the 0, we have a 1. So you can do this for your personal year. And you do that by your birth month, your birthday, and the new year, not your birth year. So my birthday is May 10th. You can send me gifts if you like, if you remember. So we're adding 5 plus 1. The 0 cancels out. 2 plus 0, that cancels out, plus 2 plus 6. So we're adding May 10th, 2026, which comes to 16. 1 plus 6, we add the double digits. 1 plus 6 is 7. So I am going into a 7 personal year in a 1 universal year. So 7 is the year of the inner pilgrimage, which really aligns for what I'm going through. It's the year of refinement, spiritual rigor, solitude, mystical depth, and ruthless self-honesty. So every personal year has a beautiful thing, and it also has a shadow. So you can Google this. Just put in your year into Google for personal year and see what it comes up for you. I'm not going to go through them all because that's a lot. And you can Google it at your fingertips. But this is really important because they interplay with each other. So my 7 personal year is going to combine and react and have a mixology with the 1 universal year in a different way than for everybody else, right? I am at a different place in my life. I am moving through different things. I want different things for myself than I ever have before. And I'm actually seeing that they're possible now. So because of what I've gone through in the past year, I'm realizing that what I'm moving into in 2026 is really the culmination of what I have been thinking and feeling and wanting. I just wasn't brave enough to actually do it. And the grief and the loss and the compound grief really from losing so many family members and my husband's sobriety and losing my dad and just all of the things that I've experienced in the past few years have really pushed me to change that I initially did not really want, but now I can't imagine not having. But adding to this is the astrology. So we have Saturn direct in Aries. Saturn has been in Pisces all year for many years until now. And then Neptune is now moving direct into Aries. So we have 2 planets and a lot of other fire happening in 2026. I'm not going to get into all of it. But this is huge. And as I was talking about in the previous podcast episode or quite a few back, the life-altering astrology of 2025, all outer planets are changing signs this year. And this is so unprecedented. And while some of these have changed and then retrograded back, they're now fully direct. And this is a cosmic firestorm. All of this fire paired with the fire horse is really burning down. And while we might think of fire as igniting the rocket ship to blast off into a new realm, think about the scorched earth that rocket leaves behind. This is polarity. This is duality. You can't have one without the other. You're never going to blast off into a new stratosphere, a new planet, a new reality, a new everything without leaving some scorched earth behind. And that doesn't mean that you should go burn every bridge, that you should, leave literal scorched earth. That just means that some shit's going to have to go. And that is going to help get you to the next place. But this is not without loss. And this loss can bring grief. And this grief can help you really realize what you had and help you understand that that was great for the time that it was there, but now it is no longer serving, it is taking. And what I have had to come to the somewhat harsh realization of is that some things that I loved and could never imagine my life without are now suffocating me. And it's a strange place to get to because you think, I'm going to love this forever and I'm going to want this forever. And then you get to a point where I can't fucking stand this thing. So the flip is quick. And leaving that scorched earth, again, does not mean that you need to go burn all of your bridges, but it does mean that there will be loss, and that loss is very real. And this is something that I don't see a lot of content creators that we follow online talking about. So I think this is a really important point to make because what you are walking away from, what you are leaving, what is ending, can hurt. It can be sad to leave. Even if you know that this is not working for you and it's not good for you anymore, it can still suck. And it could still bring up feelings of grief and sadness and letting go of something that you don't really want to release, but you know that you need to. So Saturn moving direct in Aries is like the universe handing you a sword and saying, cut the bullshit, leave yourself. Aries is raw identity, the original starter, the first in the zodiac signs. They are the independent one, the brave one, the one going into the crowd, into the war, into everything first. And Saturn is your cosmic accountability. Saturn is the zaddy of the zodiac, keeping you in line, helping you make money, giving you the structure. He is the divine masculine. So together, you become the architect of your life, or the wrecking ball of your own potential. It's your choice. You have one way or the other to go. And then we have Neptune joining Aries. And Neptune dissolves illusion. And Aries reveals the self. Aries is the self. And on the opposite of the zodiac, we have Libra, which is partnership. So Aries is I am. Aries looks out for self first. So that means the masks must fall off. Fantasy selves die and delusion cannot survive. So everyone saying 2026 will be magical and abundant is technically right, but they're skipping the step where you meet the real you first, and where you leave and walk away from and burn down into fertile ashes to rise from everything that you know. And I'm not talking everything, like not every single aspect of your life is going to end, but there are a lot of big things ending that might be hard to grapple with. It's emotionally intense, and that's just fucking real. Fire burns and it ignites. So, fire doesn't always care what it touches. It only knows how to transform. It is passion and it is rage. It is birth and it is creation, and it is also death and destruction. The same flame that destroys the forest is also what triggers the seeds to open. And some seeds require fire to germinate. So what are you germinating? Is this burning you, or is it awakening you? Because a fire horse and a 1 year, this is the year you stop betraying yourself. This is the year you stop pretending. This is the year you stop shrinking. This is the year you rise, whether you feel ready or not. Ready or not, here I come. It's happening. And so, again, saddle up or get dragged, because we're moving. It's happening regardless. And the real is this isn't necessarily a glow up year. This is a grow up year. And that can bring some glow, of course. But the grief of the outgrowing of old selves can be rough. The loneliness of expansion is real. You might feel alone where you're going, but that's only temporary. And the exhaustion after a long karmic year like we've had in 2025 is real. So rest. Say no to things that don't feel aligned. Don't feel like you have to push yourself to do everything in this season of rest and going within, when we are pushed to be the most social. And the responsibility that comes with the real power that's coming can feel like a lot to bear. And the disorientation of a blank slate is scary as fuck. You don't know where you are. Everything looks new and fresh, and you can't quite grasp anything because it's not built yet. And how overwhelming is it when you think, okay, well, I'm going to build this big, beautiful house, the house of my dreams. And you start laying the foundation, you start putting up the framing, and you're like, fuck, like this is actually a lot. It can feel really overwhelming to be in this place of new, because it's scary, because you've never done it before, because you've never been the person that has done it before. And that makes the nervous system freak out. That makes the ego say unsafe. That makes the limbic brain say, what the fuck? And that is a literal, visceral, scientific reaction to new and to something that you've never experienced before. But the fear of becoming who your soul is calling in is only because you've never seen it. And we've talked a lot about the future self, and I have a whole future self meditation. I have a 7-day future self identity lock-in that you can bring in the identity frequency of your future self, which is so dope. I highly recommend thinking about who your future self is. You can also work with AI if that's something that you're comfortable with, to literally envision them. But if you don't have a grasp on who you want to become, it is going to be very easy for you to slip back into the same patterns, for you to do the same shit, and for you to stay in the same place. Because metamorphosis is scary, but it's also where you meet your real self. And that's why you are the one to do this. That's why you are the one to go forth and take this risk. If 2025 broke you open, 2026 builds the you who walks out of the flames, who surprises even yourself. There is so much magic on the other side of this leap. And I'm not going to say it's all easy. I'm not going to say it's all going to be butterflies and rainbows. There's going to be friction. There's going to be challenge. There's going to be hard points. There's going to be things that scare the shit out of you, that make you want to just stay, that make you say, what in the fuck have I done? Why did I do this? But then you're going to see that it all ends up working out. That you are truly moving towards something that is going to last for the next 9 to 10 years. And when I say that, I'm turning 40 in 2026. So this means that what I'm creating now is going to carry me until I'm 50, which is wild as fuck because in my brain I'm still 20. And I'm like, 50 is not 10 years away. The 70s were 30 years ago and I'm 20. So it's a mind fuck. But when you think about that, when you think about the foundation that you're laying, it can feel overwhelming. But if you think far into the future, that once this is done, once I'm out of this really uncomfortable place, I am going to have and be and do everything that I've always wanted and everything that I've never had. And I'm going to become something that I've never really given myself credit to realize was possible. You are not stepping into a new year. You are stepping into a new lifetime, a new lifeline, a totally new reality. And the fire horse isn't here to burn you, but it is here to free you. And that can feel scary. So if you are scared, if you don't feel like you're ready, there are so many ways that you can ease yourself into this and prepare, because first we go from 2025 to 2026. So that's 9 to 1. And then on February 17th, that's when the Chinese New Year is. So that's when we are moving from the snake year to the fire year. And until that happens, you're still in the snake. You're still shedding. You are still letting things die. You are still allowing the universe to show you what you don't want anymore. And that is more important than figuring out what you do, because once you know what you don't want, how you don't want to feel, how you don't want to act, how you don't want to be, where you don't want to work, what you don't want to make, who you don't want to date, all of these things that are showing you what you don't want anymore, what doesn't align, is going to bring you into the space of being open to receive what you do. It is so much easier to know what you don't want than to know exactly what you do. And that's what I was talking about in the beginning with the clarity. The clarity might not be crystal clear in a 1 year, because you're like, well, I don't fucking know, but I know that everything that I had doesn't exist anymore. I know that everything that I was, I am not anymore. So I don't know exactly where I'm going, but I definitely know where I don't want to be. So take a deep breath. Allow yourself to flow and give yourself permission to recreate everything as you see fit. Do not leave any stone unturned. And check out my 7-day challenge. It's not really a challenge. It's just a 7-day process for your future self-identity. You are going to lock in for 7 days. There's a meditation. There's daily prompts. There's so many audios that are going to bring you into who you actually are, to take you from where you are to where you want to be and to who you are becoming in just 7 days. And you can repeat this as many times as you want. You'll own it forever. But this is a really great way to start getting clear on who you are becoming, so that when the new year starts, you are not picking a affirmation or a word or a resolution or an intention for the year. You're picking an identity. You are picking who you're becoming, because that is so much more powerful than I'm going to work out more this year. Like, who fucking cares? You're also not going to do it because setting resolutions in January is proven to fail, because we are in the dead of winter, and this is going to be a whole podcast episode coming next. But January 1st is not the new year. It's not anything. It is not the beginning of shit except soup season. So get clear on what you want. Check out my 7-day future self lock-in and give yourself permission to change everything, because that is exactly where we are going. And let me know what you're changing. I absolutely love hearing from you. I am so excited to hear your feedback, to hear your revelations, to hear your favorite sound bites, to know that you're sharing this with the people in your life. So please reach out to me and tell me what you are moving through. Tell me what is coming up for you, and give me an idea of where you're going, because I am changing so much about myself, and I know I'm not alone. I'll see you next week. Love, light, and black holes. Thanks for diving into the void with me. If today lit something up in you or cracked something open, follow the show and leave a review so we can magnetize more shame slayers and shadow sparklers into this world. Want more? Step through the portal at lovelightandblackholes.com. That's where the wild magic lives. Until next time, dance with your darkness like it's your favorite song, and watch the whole universe light up.